Hello everyone and welcome back to the Beginner's Guide to MWO Online. It is me, yet again, this sorry piece of a face, GTKA. Why do I do that? I have no idea. Anyways, this video is going to be about talking about the weapons of MWO Online. Now if you were impatient and just came to this video because you're just like, I see these mechs, I see these trial mechs, I don't know what weapons these do, I want to know. Well, this is what this video is for. This is going to supersede or come before a video where I talk about building a mech. The reason why I'm talking about building a mech and the weapons later on is because I really just wanted you guys to focus on aiming and gameplay and trying to have fun. Not trying to have fun, having fun. Now, if you decided that you wanted all the information now, well, here we go. We're going to talk about weapons now. We have three different kinds of weapons. We have a ballistic energy missile, AMSs. Just something to counter missiles, but that's all you need to know. For ballistics, we have autocannons. We have, I don't know what they're called, shotguns. That's, if you see LBX, AC, the shotgun. We got rotary autocannons. We got ultra autocannons. We got Gauss rifles. And we got machine guns. So what does this mean? Well, AC2s. You're shooting out a single shot that does 2 damage. Impressive, right? So, all that really means is, come on. The trade-off is that it can fire at longer ranges than its predecessors. AC5s, smaller range, 5 damage, still single shot. AC10s. Oh, another thing. Very fast cooldown rate. It's on without any quirks and whatnot. An AC2 will refresh or reload every 0.72 seconds. That's pretty fast. Then AC5's more cooldown, 5, but doing I think it's 2.5 times more damage, or 2.25, one of those two numbers. Then we got the AC10s. Longer cooldown, more damage, all that fun stuff. Then we got AC20s. A 20 damage slug going straight into the enemy. It hurts. Yeah, it hurts. LB2s. The way shotguns work is that the number, like LB2, is how many pellets are shooting out of your gun. So LB2s, you're only shooting out 2 pellets, they do 1 damage each. That is until you reach optimal range. And then after optimal range, you do less damage. Pretty simple. Although doing less damage of 2 is kind of laughable. Yeah. LB5s, same thing, shoots out 5 pellets, 1 damage each. LB10s, LB20s. Just the advantage over shotguns to autocannons is that while sure you need to be close range for almost all of the shotguns or LBXs, they crit. What that means is, well, they don't crit, they have a higher chance to crit outside of their autocannon counterparts. What that means is that weapons or cooling systems are going to be destroyed without you having to destroy the component on a mech. It's critting out weapons is very useful and a tactical move, and why LBXs are a choice on the battlefield. Rotary autocannons, 2s and 5s. What the 2 and 5 mean is simply that the rotary 2s are smaller than the rotary 5s. Now what this is, well, think of it as a big ballistic machine gun. You hold down a button, you let it rev up. A Gatling gun. There we go. Gatling gun. That's better. You hold down the button, it winds up, and then it starts shooting slugs at the enemy in a nice straight line until you move, and then it goes in a wave formation. So Rack 2s do some damage over time, which is 6.5 per second, while rotary autocannon 5s do 10, almost 11 damage per second. It's going to require you to look at the enemy for a bit amount of time, so expect return fire when using these weapons. Ultra autocannons. I like these weapons, but there's a downside. They have this this thing called jamming. Now, they jam because you can fire them twice in a matter of seconds foregoing the cooldown. So with Ultra autocannons 2, I can tap them twice, and there is a percentage chance of the gun jamming when I hit that second time. So a good example is really what I just told you. Just trying to double tap, and then if on the second tap your gun doesn't fire, that means you're going to see in big red letters that your weapon is jammed, and you're going to be a sad panda until the jamming's done and over with, or the jamming refreshes. Then you can fire your gun as normal until you most likely jam it again. Ultra 2s and Ultra 5s for the inner sphere are just one single slug. But for the UAC 10s, UAC is Ultra autocannon. For the UAC 10s and 20s, they shoot out 3 slugs. They do a burst fire. So it's 10 damage spread out between 3 shells, and the Ultra autocannon 20 is 20 damage spread out between 3 shells. So you have the chance to do more damage, but you also have the chance to spread that damage on an enemy mech. It's a give and take situation. Do you want the high risk, or do you want the safe route? And that's just a matter of choosing between the Ultra autocannons and the regular autocannons. Gauss rifles. They're your sniper weapons. So the Gauss rifle and the light Gauss rifle are all your sniper weapons. They have a nice extreme range. They hurt from that range. The difference that all Gauss rifles have is that you need to charge them up before you fire. It'll show up as a nice yellow box when you're in your reticle, and then when it goes green, that's when you know you're good to fire, and yeah, let it sail. Heavy Gauss rifles are slightly different. They do a lot of damage, but not at any fantastic range. It's an optimal range of 220 meters. These guys, you're up close and personal friends. Or when you want to make friends up close and personal. You just want to hug them real tight, let go of your heavy Gauss rifles, and make them run because they just took 25 damage to the face. No one likes that. Machine guns. You would expect them to be like rest of ballistics and have velocity and a flight path and deviate when you shift your mech from side to side, but no, they act a lot like lasers, where they just fire in a straight line and do damage in that line. Don't pay mind to the visual effect. You're going to be firing in a straight line. Next up, energy weapons. Flamers. What these do, they simply add a little bit of heat to your mech, but heating up the enemy mech and possibly causing them to shut down and letting you get free damage on them. The more flamers you have, the more effective you are, but the more heat you build up on yourself, and it's risk versus reward kind of situation. Tags. They help you get past ECM on a mech. ECM is it's something that you can have on certain mechs. It is a hardpoint, and the ECM will protect you and your team in a range of 120 meters from you, and will allow it so that you can't be targeted before a certain range. So if the standard is 600 meters for a regular ECM that is unskilled. Tags, so long as you tag an enemy mech with ECM or under ECM within that 750 meters, you disregard that and you can target them as normal. And later on I'll explain why tags are necessary. Small lasers, medium lasers, large lasers, all of these lasers, well, except for the pulse lasers, do nice damage in a line, nice instant point shoot damage. Only problem is that they have a duration, and you have to hold onto that target, onto that mech, or else you're not going to do the full burn. And so let's look at the medium laser. You do 5 damage, and the duration is 0.9 seconds. So you have to hold onto a mech to do 5 damage in that 0.9 seconds. Otherwise, if you deviate, you're not going to do the full damage. The difference between these small, medium, large lasers and these ER small, medium, large lasers is that ER simply means extended range. That also means that they have increased heat, so you're trading range for more heat. It's a give and take situation. Pulse lasers. The pulse lasers, smaller duration, faster cooldown, I believe. 2.25. Faster cooldown, so more DPS, and more heat or less heat. 1.35. A little bit more heat than your regular lasers. So this is for when you want to pop up on an enemy, shoot, pop back down in a very short amount of time. Or you want to do hit and run tactics. They all have different ranges, large pulse being the longest range, medium pulse being the medium range, and small pulse being you got to be up in the enemy's face, because it has a range of 110 meters. Not much there. Other than that, PPCs. These can be tricky if you don't understand what they do. PPCs are projectile weapons. They're like your ballistics, but energy and unlimited ammo. What this means is that you're gonna be shooting a lot of heat, or you're gonna be gaining a lot of heat every time you shoot PPCs. Good news is that it's pinpoint, nice, accurate, high velocity. But you got trade backs. Regular PPCs. So you got your PPC, your light PPC, and your heavy PPC. All of those have a minimum range of 90 meters, where if a mech is within that 90 meter mark, you can shoot that mech all you want. You're going to do no damage. And you're going to have a bad time. And you're not going to like what is happening to you. Especially when the enemy just kills you and doesn't take any damage. Now, ER PPCs and snub-nose PPCs don't have a minimum range. They just, whatever, no matter the distance, you're going to hurt enemy mechs. You're going to hurt enemy mechs. Of course, they have the trade-off of range, where ER PPCs are your sniping PPC weapon of 810 optimal range. That's pretty far. Whereas snub-nose are your more up-close and personal friend with a 270 optimal range. That is it for energy. Last but not least, we got missiles. Long-range missiles. You're going to get some heat if you use these weapons. A lot of people in the community don't like these weapons because what they are is long-range missiles. Long-range missiles require you to lock onto a target. Now that just means you have to press R on a target, look at it, and then fire your missiles. Doesn't matter where you are on the map. Only problem is you need to make sure that you have, one, the headspace for your missiles to clear out of your mech, and two, you need to make sure that because they go in an arc, you need to make sure that the distance of the mech is from you, the missiles are able to clear terrain and buildings that are in front of you. Say, like, you have a building in front of you and you're trying to shoot at a mech that's 300 meters away, you're most likely going to hit the building in front of you rather than the mech. And you're not going to be doing damage, you just wasted ammo, and you're not going to be all that happy. Medium range missiles. Another thing. You're shooting out, for long range missiles, you're shooting out the number. That's how many missiles you're shooting, and they do a damage each. And they are rather spread out, so depending on where you hit, or you can't control where the missiles hit. And you're just going to do a bunch of spread damage to an enemy mech. Another thing I was about to skip, and I've just realized, is that there is this thing called Artemis. Artemis reduces the spread on your weapons, making it more accurate, if you will. That accuracy more comes into play with SRMs, but we'll get to that in a moment. In order for Artemis to work for long-range missiles, you need to directly look at the target. If not, Artemis is not engaged, and you're just wasting that ton you use to get that Artemis benefit. So, most of the time, you don't want to take Artemis with LRMs. Moving on to MRMs, or medium-range missiles. They have a medium range. You fire missiles. You fire 10 missiles. They're not guided. We call it dumb firing. You point at a mech, you fire a stream of missiles, and you do damage. The spread on them is rather spread. Actually, all missile weapons have a spread and will not do single point damage to an enemy mech like ballistics and energy do. MRM 10s, 20s, 30s, you're firing in a rocket stream of 10, you're firing a rocket stream of 20, you're firing a rocket stream of 30, you're firing a rocket stream of 40. Self-explanatory. SRMs, short-range missiles. Get up to an enemy. I forgot once again. I apologize. LRMs have a minimum range as well, something you need to be wary of. They have a minimum range of 180 meters. You cannot change minimum range in any way, shape, or form. All you need to know is that if a enemy mech is within 180 meters for inner sphere, you're going to do no damage. The missiles are going to go right above them and do nothing. I say that because there is a bit of a discrepancy between Innisphere and clans in terms of both what you have access to in terms of weapons, and then what those weapons do. Short-range missiles, just fire them at an enemy mech. They do 2 damage per missile. Important distinction between the long-range missiles and medium-range missile cousins. So you're firing 2 on SRM2s. You're firing 2 missiles still, but they do 2 damage each. So you're dealing a total of 4 damage. And here it's 8. Here is 12. And there's some funky math in there as well, where it's the 12.9 damage, but doesn't really matter. If you're using SRMs, Artemis is generally only used on SRM 6s. You don't need Artemis for SRM 4s, and you definitely don't need Artemis for SRM 2s, because the spread on them is so small, whereas SRM 6s, you'll want most of those missiles to hit the component that you're looking to hit. Streak SRMs. They're like the long-range missiles where you need to lock on, but you don't control where they go. They have a chance to go in certain areas of a mech, mainly going towards the arms and legs of a mech. Going back to tag. Tag helps improve lock-on times. So if you have LRMs or if you have streaks, it's a very good idea to equip tag. Now, tag only benefits one time. So you really only want one tag laser. Right, lock on, fire, forget for streaks. Rocket launchers. These are one and done kind of weapons. You fire a rocket launcher once, you send out 10 rockets doing 2 damage each, and you can't fire it anymore. So you either use it as your oh shit button, or your hi, how's it going, I'm going to murder your face button. So you can either use it to end an engagement or start one. That's pretty much it. So you got a total of 20 damage going at an enemy, a total of 30 damage going at an enemy, and a total of 40 damage going at an enemy. When they get hit by them, enemies are normally stunned that they just got hit for a lot of damage, and you're going to have a brief window of opportunity to pound in more damage on a mech. Narcs. Narcs, if you land a narc on someone, what that means is that you are supporting your team in both that the team can now lock on to said mech. And now long-range missiles and streaks can lock onto that mech, and no one needs to lock onto that mech. It is basically the narc is acting as the lock-on person, if you will. And you guys, and the LRMs and streaks have free reign shooting at the mechs until the duration of the narc runs out. I think that is everything for Innisphere. Now, there are some Innisphere only things, like the rotary autocannons. You can only find those on Innisphere mechs. Light Gauss and Heavy Gauss you can only find on Innisphere mechs. In terms of energy, you can only find heavy PPCs, light PPCs, and snub-nosed PPCs on Inner Sphere mechs. And last but not least, you can only find MRMs and rocket launchers on Inner Sphere mechs. So Inner Sphere has a bunch of toys. Now Clan, they have toys that hurt. What clans have that are different than Inner Sphere is the regular autocannons. Once you get past AC2s, they have burst fire. So clan AC5s, they fire in a burst fire of 2 shells. So they do 2.5 damage each. AC10s do a burst fire of 3 shells, like the regular like the UAC Inner Sphere does. And clan AC20s go in a burst fire of 4, doing 5 damage each. You generally want to go ultra autocannons over regular autocannons because of the higher potential in DPS. And, well, if you're already using a burst fire weapon, you might as well try and get more damage out of it. Machine guns are the same. Gauss rifles the same. LB autocannons are the same. Now we got some new toys. Another distinction is that Clan only has ER lasers. And they have the addition of the light tag. It's whatever, you really don't need it. Clan has the addition of heavy lasers. What that means is that they have heavy smalls, heavy mediums, and heavy larges. Now they have a long duration time compared to ER lasers. But they do more damage in that duration. But the heavy lasers also produce more heat. So basically you're hoping to put more damage on the enemy in a amount of time, but you're building up heat at a risk. So it's touch and go, basically. We got some more, or we got Clan has the ER micro laser, which is not found on Inner Sphere. And they also have the micro pulse laser. Basically, it's just a laser that is smaller than the small laser and small pulse laser, and it does less damage, but as you have probably guessed, lower cooldowns than their counterparts. And Clan doesn't have the snub-nosed PPC as well. They just have an ER PPC. I did not pick a mech that has missiles. Complete fail. Sure. Now, Clan missiles do things a little bit differently. Whereas Inner Sphere missiles, LRM missiles, fire out in one giant group. Clan missiles fire out in long-range missiles. Long-range missiles. Clan LRMs fire in a stream, as opposed to the Inner Sphere's clump. There's different advantages and disadvantages. Not really going to go into them. You can find them out on your own. It's pretty simple. And then clans have this ATMs. They fly shallower, pretty much in a straight line, at an enemy mech. They require lock-on time, so they're missile guided. Well, they don't require. You can also dumbfire them, but of course, if you lock on and have missile guidance, then it's going to be a lot more effective. and they're gonna hit for sure. ATMs, they fire 3 missiles, 6 missiles, 9 missiles, 12 missiles. Now, LRMs do 1 point of damage throughout their entire arc. ATMs are different. The closer you are to their range, the more damage they do. ATMs have a minimum range of 120 meters, as opposed to the LRM's 180. And as you can see by the damage graph, you can see like little weird lines. Well, when an enemy mech is in a 120 to 220 meter range, you're doing triple the damage. So an ATM 3 can be doing 9 damage to an enemy mech, or an ATM 12 can be doing 36 damage to an enemy mech. That's quite a lot of damage. And as time goes on, when you go to like 220 to, or not 220, 270 to about 400 meters, they do double the damage. And then from that point, from 425 to 1125, they do 1 damage, where you might as well just take LRMs at that point if you're going to fire at an extreme range. ATMs are much more useful close up. Sure, they have a minimum range, but you can use terrain to your advantage to where the enemy can't approach you, and you also have friends. And if they approach you, you can also just back up. Alright, everyone. That is the end of the video. Hopefully you understood everything that I was saying, and you learned something. That's mainly why creating this video. Till then, in the next video, I will be talking about how to build a mech properly. Not properly, but to make it where you're just not slamming weapons onto a mech and going, why is this build not working? Or why builds are the way they are. That's another thing. Anyways, I'm rambling. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.